Rahmen des Programms Global Dialogue vom VIDC, vom Wiener Institut für internationalen Dialog und Zusammenarbeit, haben wir einen Schwerpunkt und der sind soziale Bewegungen im globalen Süden. Und für uns ist es wichtig, dass wir dabei immer Vertreterinnen aus diesen Ländern hier haben, denn ich denke, es braucht einen gleichberechtigten Dialog. Wir müssen ihre Visionen hören, wie sie sich eine andere Welt, eine bessere Welt für alle vorstellen.
Of course, the main reason that inspired the revolution was the conditions in the country itself on the ground. So the incredible level of economic collapse, of corruption, of political repression.
The first, incident that happened in Ethiopia was in 2015-16 due to the Addis Abeba master plan, because the urbanization and the new investment have been dispossessing so many farmers from their lands, and their children did not have jobs, and at the same time those investors were taking over those lands. And when these young people go to those investments to get employment, they could not get it.
Women have been at the forefront of repression by the regime in many different ways, whether it's the women who are in the areas of the country like Darfur, like Nuba Mountains or Blue Nile, that have been essentially bombarded, that have suffered from conflict. Many of the people that were displaced, that have faced sexual violence and so forth, have been women. But also, women have been at the forefront of confronting very repressive laws like the public order laws in Sudan, which, for example, in Khartum, enforced in the 1990s, that allow security to harass women, police how they dress, and poor women particularly have suffered from this.
I talked to the mothers of the martyrs, and they told me this, many of them. And I was in the front line with some of them who were trying to protect me. They protected us, particularly they said that the Kandakas has to be in the safe houses, and they took us to safe houses, and so they sacrificed themselves for us. And they died in big numbers, and particularly in Eid Ramadan, I was very close to Dudu, who passed away the same day, and that was really very painful. We are all traumatized still in Sudan, and whenever they asked me to speak about my experience after my detention, I couldn't, because I just feel like I did nothing. I sacrificed nothing if I compared myself to what they were ready for. Most of the revolutionaries in Sudan, they were ready to die, and I saw that by my other eyes.
I think the Sudanese diaspora particularly is very politicized in many different ways, because many of the millions of Sudanese who live outside Sudan have obviously family and friends and have spent much of their life in Sudan, but also have left for reasons of economic difficulty, for political repression. Sudanese society is very interconnected, so people tend to know their neighbors, and people are involved in different associations. Women, for example, in many different towns and villages have their own small associations, whether it's for saving money or whether it's to drink coffee and get together. And this, using the social fabric, was one very important way in which people managed to organize. However, we do see the use of social media, and that's of course different from the uprisings of the past. Particularly the Sudanese Professionals Association, the SPA, was very successful at using Facebook and WhatsApp, but particularly Facebook, in order to organize and mobilize.
The ways in which we think of politics has been esoteric, and for us, the overt political space would be, control of, state apparatuses, something like that. But people, because they don't have access to those institutions, they have been taking these artistic, cultural spaces as a place where they can, pose their own questions, ferment their questions. So art has been central. Cultural spaces have been central in creating opportunities for people to come together, to provoke one another, and to bring about change at the same time.